Well, you know the drill by now. A Journey Through Another World, Raising Kids While Adventuring is a 12-episode anime whose main point is a journey through another world and raising kids while adventuring. It is an anime that is so inoffensive and cheap that I really have nothing to say about it. From a casual glance at the comments about this anime, I think a lot of people consider it to belong to the Yashike subgenre of slice of life, but to be quite honest with you, I don't think it really deserves that notion. If you go to Wikipedia, you'll see this little sentence here, quote, Shannon K. Garrity of Otaku USA wrote that in Yashike works, the focus is less on character and plot and more on world building and creating an immersive visual setting. End quote. In other words, the main escapism of this sort of genre is to watch cute characters doing cute things in a world that may look like ours but is totally foreign to the viewer, a combo of slice of life and a tour where nothing drastic really happens and you're comfy still. I can begrudgingly accept the cute angle of this, as the two kids are cute, though if you don't have, want, or even like kids yourself, you'll find that aspect to be pointless at best and irritating at worst. It's the setting of the story that is my biggest issue with it. It's foreign to the viewer only on technicality of our world not having mermaids and giant snakes and shit. Outside of it, it is the most generic Japanese fantasy setting known to man, with small towns and adventurers guilds and gods and all that other junk. In fact, the aforementioned gods are part of the problem why this anime is so boring to watch. The premise of the story is that a god of wind killed a man, and feeling guilty about it, he reincarnated him in a body made specifically for him, filled it with all the basic knowledge, and then showers him with kids and gifts and powers and pets. And you may say, well, yes, that is a typical trope of these isekai stories, right? The typical trope is that the god gives them powers in the beginning and then either fucks off or doesn't interfere much, and all the kids and gifts are at least superficially earned by the protagonist. Very rarely do they just receive it as if they've bought them in a microtransaction store. When that happens, the protagonist doesn't look like a protagonist, he looks like a nepo baby who took a small loan of $1 million from his parents. The next anime is The Strongest Magician in the Demon Lord's Army Was a Human, a 12-episode fantasy anime who I can most accurately describe as vegan overlord. It is your average fantasy setting where the evil man in the evil army is actually not evil, but actually wants everyone to coexist in peace, but he is faced with the ever-present threats of co-workers with unhealthy levels of attraction towards them, as well as the so-called good people who represent humanity in a Japanese fantasy story where they're not the protagonists. Basically, it's a long way of telling you that they have legal slavery and most likely have some sort of national sport called orc baby throwing into a spike pit of lava competition. Do you find this shit annoying? I am, annoyed when I think about it, and mostly indifferent when not, but since I'm thinking about it right now, this whole idea of, but they're actually just as bad, if not worse, always felt cheap to me. How do we make our evil protagonist look good? Why, by making him lawful neutral, while making the good guy lawful dumbass. I care about my forces while the enemy shoots his own with catapults of hit things that'll benefit him. I treat my subjects with at least a modicum of compassion while the other side enslaves other races for fun. I want other races to coexist while the other side wants everyone but fair-skinned humanity to wither and die. Not only it is cheap and predictable, it effectively diminishes the whole good versus evil into this is what laymen think centrist politics look like, where everyone's motivations are defined but egotistical grey mass. But I digress. The story overall is generic for these sorts of animes. Good guy has an ambition and uses his meta-knowledge to achieve results. In an isekai, that knowledge is of our world, while in this anime it's of a long-lost civilization, so probably also our world. It is very by the numbers and cheap, but it's not that offensive as far as these shows tend to get. A pair of off-brand shoes that's good enough to wear, but not good enough to brag about.